Yes, so hi everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. So Jasleen is going to give us a session on the basics of
Yeah.
storytelling or the art of storytelling. So Jasleen already has experience with a lot of big names in the industry. So I would now request Jasleen to give us a short introduction about herself and begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, hello. I just said hi to a lot of people, but then once again to all the 23 participants. It's so good. I'm feeling so happy that we all are here together. And today we are talking about storytelling. Why do I see? I think everyone can see my screen, right? Just give me a thumbs up. So yeah, so this is the storytelling has science, it has its own dynamics, it has its own techniques, but I call it as the art of storytelling because this thing comes from within. As Professor Suresh has also mentioned, in one of these sessions that you need to become a storyteller. You should know how to storytell, you should know how to narrate yourself and everything. So it is very true. It comes from within. I give you some points, some obviously seniors and technicians in this, they will give you lot of points, but the nutshell is why is that important? How is it important? How it is more important to you, yourself, your product, and your brand. So this the basics we're gonna touch. Anywhere, any problem, any question you want to ask, just hit it in the middle because it's going to be an interactive session. So yes, so we shall begin now. I hope there's nobody in the waiting room, Sally. All right.
I'm letting
So
people in
let
as they're coming. So yes, we can
okay,
start now.
done. I'll continue. Yeah. So, as I said, storytelling is something that we have keep on, we've kept on doing it since we were a kid, since we were a child. School se aate the to mama ko batate se, what happened in the school, or we're going to a market, we're meeting our friends and boyfriends and everything. Everything was a story. Sometimes we never realize, Gary, I have been actually narrating so many stories around, and we just don't understand that we've been doing this since childhood. So this is somewhere we need to understand that how we need to narrate it, articulate it properly when it comes to us as being an entrepreneurs, as being the owners of brands and ventures. So, while beginning, let me share a story of a young girl. So, this girl comes from the city called Jaipur in India only, the city of heritage, culture, and art, and architecture, and
यार
everything.
कुछ कुछ बड़ा करना लाइफ में यार सिद्धार्थ.
Yeah. Hi, who's Siddharth? Okay, so there was someone's mic was on anyway. So this girl is coming from Jaipur, and while she was in school, I got to know this about this person that she completed her master's in Kathak. So extremely very expressive person. Then she went to Delhi University. She got her bachelor's in history, and then she got her master's in ancient Indian history, and all academic and this kitabi kira kind of a person. Worked in National Museum in paintings department and everything. Her aim was actually to become a professor because she knew that she was expressive. So she wanted to become a professor and teach. And she thought that, I can be empathetic, I can understand what people are thinking. I want to become that. I want to become a lecturer and all of that. So she left Delhi, she went back to her home, and she thought if she had to take up this exam called NET, which we have to take up in order to get into professorship and PhDs and everything. She sat down and took up that exam for like thrice, and she couldn't clear it. She was extremely disheartened. She thought, meanwhile, kuch to karna hai, let's do something. She did another master's in social work. Now what to do? 3 times, no. She again tried for fourth time. And you know how our government exams and everything, this is all national level exams. So it happens, and then the result comes after
Hello.
6 months, then it happens. Hi. Shall I continue? Yeah. So, that's how it happened. So she thought what to do. It's not happening. After fourth time, she gave up. Extremely disheartened. Padhai mein itni achhi, everything so good, curricular, everything was super, but she couldn't clear that exam and she was extremely disheartened. Her dream was broken and she was shattered. She thought, why not? To kind of take up, because she did a master's in social work, so she thought, why not to take up some volunteering thing in
You're on
Justine,
mute.
you've gone on mute. Yeah.
now I think it's fine, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're on
Jaslyn,
mute
you're on
again.
mute.
You're on
Actually,
mute again.
Sayali is muting everyone, so you will also get mute. So you have to take care of it that,
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Just
All right.
give me
Now
a
I am.
second, Jasleen. Yeah, if you're able to talk, I just want to mute everybody, or else if everyone else can keep themselves on mute so that there'll not be any disturbance in the session. Thank you.
Cool. Can you hear me? Yeah. So this girl, she started teaching English to some NGOs and, helping people. That's how she was getting back on her feet. At that time, some people saw her. They loved the way she was delivering, and they called her in office in Jaipur. And they asked her, why don't you become our brand representative in terms of a storyteller? And we want you to hire in marketing team. This girl said to the owner she was meeting, no HR, HR and all of that. She said, so what is the spelling of marketing, by the way? They were like, what? He said, because she was coming from history background and padhai background and all of that. And she had no idea कि ये marketing क्या होता है और आप मुझे storyteller बना रहे हो. What is happening? So this owner said, I mean, can you imagine an owner is giving you a job and you're saying, sir, you've gone mad. What are you doing? You're picking the wrong person. So this guy said, this boss, that no, I can see that you're communicating properly, you're empathetic, you're expressive, you can understand people, and you can become a very good storyteller. And that was the day, and this is the day that she actually came out to be a storyteller, and she realized that actually that was her USP. She did wanted to become a professor, but she wanted to use her communication skills. That was one of her USPs. But not becoming a professor, she became a storyteller. So this girl is, any guesses? Why is this hanged? 1 second. This girl is,
Jaslyn.
this is my story, guys. So here I am. Sally asked me to give an introduction. I thought, why not to give an introduction like this? So yes, this is Jaslyn. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to discuss some basics of storytelling, as I mentioned. And I'll just let you know all this thing about that. I am expressive. I love talking to people. I love making connections and network and all of that. That doesn't mean everybody's expressive. That doesn't mean everybody's an extrovert. But as I mentioned, we all have been in the habit of narrating stories. Mama ko sunai thi, friends ko sunai thi, sisters, brothers ko sunai thi. So we are in the habit of storytelling. It's just this now we have to kind of, introspect and understand that yes, story is right here. What you need is heart. You need your passion to tell why are you doing this. See how I told you about myself, right? And not a big person, it's just me. So yes. Okay, if I ask all my 25 friends out here, Pythagorean theorem, anybody remembers it? I'm giving you 5 seconds. 5, 4,
Yeah, C squared is
3.
equal to A
C
squared
square
plus B
equals to A
squared.
square plus B square.
Acha, you've been using all of this. Okay, now if we go much more into deeper, if you have to make, if you have to kind of हमको सबको समझाना है, समझा पाओगे अच्छे से everything
Yeah.
properly? Who's
Yes.
okay? One person is saying, right? Out of 25, 26. And if I show you this, what is this?
वो बाबा black sheep वाला है.
I think 4, 5 people are responding. Guys, just give me a thumbs up. Everybody remembers this?
Yeah.
It's Baba Black Sheep. Why do we remember Baba Black Sheep, and why only one person out of 26 of all of us do not remember Pythagorean theorem? Because this was narrated to us in a form of story. It was simple. It was clear. We were able to relate to this. Although we've been not using this poem since like 6 years after all is said, but it is very much intact in our mind. So that is the main point. It has to be simple. You have to relate. It was all visuals. We could relate it to it. We still remember the whole Baba Black Sheep and the wool and everything. Is there a question? All right, I'll go ahead. So the main point that we have to take away from here is that it is about you have to relate, and it has to be simple, and it has to be, the visuals that is still very much there in our mind. It's there in our head, correct? So before you talk about your venture, yourself, or anything. It's the story that sells. आप अपना product दिखाओगे, you tell the technical and everything. It's the story which is reaching us. Why do I say this? For example, Fair and Lovely. Why people buy this today? This company is doing pretty what, 300 something million crore business. I mean, in India, I'm saying. Why? Because people believe in this brand. People believe this character. We could relate to this character, and that is why people started going and buying it. It was the story. हाँ ऐसा होता है, हाँ ऐसा होगा. Okay, let's go and buy this. If I show you this picture, who is he? James Bond, right? If we go to Omega showroom today and we see an Omega watch right there in front of us, and it's like, oh my God, wow, James Bond, huh? James Bond, yes. Why? We are connecting, relating, we are believing these characters. So the belief has to be there. After you see the product, you listen to the story and everything, the belief that is there. So we need to remember, as much as heart is important in narrating your story, your passion, your story has to kind of engross that belief in your audience, in the people whom telling your story to. So as I said, belief, that's how people make judgments. That's how the call to action is, that they go and buy it, or they buy your story. For me, it is always buying a story. More than the product, it's always a story that gets sold. So great business, for a great business, main fuel is the story. Before your product or service, it's actually a story which is getting sold. So what are the principles of storytelling? Emotions. Guys, can you tell me one thing while I was narrating my story in the beginning? Just chat or anywhere, if you can unmute yourself and tell me, what was that emotion in the end that came to your heart, mind, whatsoever? What was it? Bore kar rahi hai. No. Oh, wow, who is this person? Okay, I have to go. I have to leave.
Inspirational.
Okay,
Happy
anybody
ending.
else? Happy. So the emotions of happiness. Oh, I'm looking up to this person. Oh, wow, this story made me sad. Something happened to me also in life. You are relating, correct? So the emotions, when we narrate a story, emotions come out. As much as belief is there, emotions, very important part is emotions. 100% authentic. Guys, whatever story is there, if it is a true story, you'll always remember that story in your mind. It has to be 100% authentic. If I am just saying and buffing up and everything, you'll be like, okay, yeah, you're making up. People understand. So if it is a true story, it's authentic, people will relate to you. They'll have that belief in you, and they'll show those emotion, and they will be emotionally connected to you. They'll be investing themselves in you. So always be true in your stories. Common ground. In common ground, what do I mean? So if there are two parties, both of the parties have to agree. Now, for example, like if this is a cup, this is my product of my venture, although. So this is a product. Now I tell you, it's a blue pottery cup, and it is made up by hand, and a lot of artisans have made this. It is it's Turco-Persian art which is there. It's painted, and around 15 days, it's a 15-day process and everything. You'll be like, yeah, I can see a lot of my friends nodding. Yeah, I'm nodding. You are also nodding. So this is what? Agreeing. Yeah, Justine, you're right. You are agreeing to me. We both are on a common ground that, yes, we are believing in you. We are believing in the story that you're saying. So two parties on the same ground of that story. So guys, this is also a point. We have co-founders with us. We have our teams with us. Customers, definitely. Everybody has to speak the same story. As per my experience, I have worked for some brands, luxury home decor brands. Then I have freelanced also for some brands in terms of storytelling. Once or twice, I have gone through this, that both the founders, co-founder and founder, they were speaking another language. Someone's mission was something, someone's vision was something, someone wanted to just focus on sales, someone wanted to focus on their story. I was like, guys, you are making me crazy. They both were not on the same place. They were not on the same page. So it is very important for us to find that common ground. And then it has to be very well articulated. We have stories, very good points, good strengths about us that we are telling. But if it is not told in a proper manner, this happened, This is not important. No, I don't have to tell about this. This phase of my life was very important. This was my turning point. For example, the story that I told you, my turning point was that I got a job where I was completely disheartened, having good degrees and being expressive and all of that. Nobody gives a damn until you're not making a living for yourself. So for me, my turning point was somebody offered me a job, right? And he saw that I had those USPs and somewhere mujhe pata bhi nahi tha ki, okay, I have this strengths in me. So it is very important how you articulate your story, what is important to be told and what is not important, remove it. For example, history, if we take, what is history? Dates, facts. People used to ask me, oh my God, Justine, you're a history student. Kitna years yaad karna pada hoga, so many dates that you had to remember. No. I always tell them history was not dates and figures. History was about his story. I was reading stories of people, rulers and kingdoms and dynasties and civilizations and everything. It was stories. Since then, till now, we listen to stories. And if it is properly articulated, we can remember Pythagorean theorem also in life. So what is the impact of these things? I'm going to take you through 2 commercials and you will tell me what, after listening to the principles, what impact did you guys get?
Can't hear it.
Jasleen,
Guys, can you hear?
we are unable to hear the video. If you could.
Jasleen, you need to share your sound.
Sound is missing, I think.
You need to share your sound, Jasleen.
Okay, 1 second. You guys need to help me. This is my weakness. I'm not tech savvy. How to do that? I have shared my screen.
When you share your screen, there is an option to share sound also.
First stop sharing and then reshare again.
Okay. I'll do that.
You are on full.
Now everybody can see me, right? I'll share my screen.
Jasleen, your presentation, when you share, on the top,
Share
there is
sound.
a black bar that comes, right?
I got it.
There, the sound sharing is there.
1 second. Now we'll try.
Dad, what are you doing here? Dad, what are you doing here?
I can't come home tonight.
But what about football?
I'm not going to be around anymore, so
When are you coming back?
I'm sorry.
I don't understand.
You look after your mum.
Dad,
Bye, Ben.
Dad,
Ben, can you come with me, please?
Now the another one.
My job is to make college easier because students have a lot on their
आज दिल ने सोचा यूं किसी अपने को क्या दूं जो उससे कहे तुम अपने हो जो अपने आप में खास हो जो सिर्फ तोहफा नहीं एहसास हो जिसमें रिश्तों की मिठास हो आदम से भाई रिश्तों की मिठास है कैडबरी सेलिब्रेशंस का रिच ड्राई फ्रूट कलेक्शन पहली बार चुनिंदा ड्राई फ्रूट्स और कैडबरी चॉकलेट का अनोखा संगम
एक मिनट अदब से भाई रिश्तों की मिठास है
ये है अच्छा Cadbury celebrations.
All right. You saw both the commercials. So what was it? The emotion. And first we had the emotion of fear. we will lose somebody. In the second one, the emotion was love, enjoying, celebration. So as I said, we'll go back to this. Emotions, extremely important. So this was a commercial, be it your blog, be it the content on your website, be it your reels on Instagram, be the post, be it anything, any medium you are picking for your story narration. Remember, belief, emotion, the truth, the common ground, and your articulation. These things are extremely important. The first ad was of British Heart Foundation, and they were saying, what is that one thing we all are scared to lose our family friends, right? The ones we love. See how they use the emotion. So it is very important for us. What is the service that we're dealing, or what product are we dealing in, and what emotion we want our customer to give out when we are talking about our story. ये तभी समझ में आता है जब आपको आपके प्रोडक्ट पे, आपकी सर्विस पे पूरा you know what you're doing. So here I come down to, we'll just do one of the activities after this session. You can do it. Just try it yourself. Describe your dream properly. Why are you doing this? What was the reason? For example, the turning point was that I got that job. From there, my life began actually completely different. There must be some turning points in your life, guys. Write it down. What was the main thing in your life that has inspired you, encouraged you to do something, and then eventually how you turned out to be an entrepreneur? There is a story for everyone. And guys, always remember, we sometimes feel, it's a very human thing. We always feel what I'm doing, somebody else might also do like this. Somebody else might copy my idea and all of that. But a story cannot be copied any time. What I have gone through, how the struggles that I had, or whatever I had, Siley might not have, Deepti might have a different story altogether. So these are all encouraging, inspiring stories because it's a true story. How are you different? Are you bringing a change in society or through your product or whatever in someone's lifestyle? If you're in kids wear, are you bringing a change for them? Even if you're from a technical background, is your app bringing out a change? Are you transforming something? This is how you will be different. And are you, your mission, your vision, your co-founder's mission, as I mentioned, my experience, is everything on the same page? Because if it is different, then the first break of your venture or your brand, the main foundation, it just gets loosened up there only because the story is not same. Everything has to have a story, because whenever you take up any example, you take up any leader, whenever somebody asks anything to them, they always narrate back in a form of story, always. So that is how stories are important for us. And remember, these are my key pointers that I have remembered this in my life, and I have understood from my seniors and everybody, that listen to your audience. When I decided that I wanted to become an entrepreneur now myself, I kind of took my mother, my father, listen, this is what I want to do. What is your take on this? So they gave me back their inputs. It is very important to listen to your audience, be it anybody, and then definitely your customers. It's very important because everybody has their own say, they have their own take on it. Understand your target audience lifestyle. Why do I say this? For example, I'm just giving a hypothetical thing. If I show a Maruti car is pretty good car, the first car and everything, all of things, to Ambani, for example, any HNI. It's a car. Will he buy it? No, because that does not match to his lifestyle. If I show an Audi to a middle class person, wow, what a wonderful car, will he buy it? You know your target audience. So you need to understand their lifestyle. You need to understand how you want to pitch your story to one. If this person is from Bangalore, then how I have to pitch. If this person is from Mumbai, how I have to pitch, because their demographies are different. Their expectations are different. Story remains the same. The articulation sometimes gets little differentiate. For example, I am dealing in handmade carpets, or I am dealing in handmade daris or handmade products. I know if the place is it's pretty prone to waters and everything, I know which product to pitch. I'm not going to pitch something which is of no use to that person. I'm wasting my time and their time, and then the result is zero. So you need to understand what is the lifestyle, what is being expected out of you, what does your customer want to listen, narrate that properly. Which emotion, as I mentioned, I asked you, which emotion did you feel when I was telling my story, when you saw these two videos? So this is how emotions engross in people, in your audience, when they're listening to you. For example, dopamine is one of the hormones. I'm saying this technical thing, hormone that we release while we are listening to something, and it's for focus. जब मैं अपनी कहानी बताई थी, सब लोग एंड में सुन रहे थे, okay, whom is she talking about? You were not going here and there. Why do we go to movies? We don't. It's exactly there. Our minds are there. If the story is not good, then guys, let's go. Let's leave the movie. Example, right? So you have to catch your audience. You have to catch the emotions, and you have to develop that belief in your story. Scientists say that human beings are made of atoms, but a little word said, we are made up of stories. And I always say this, we are all storytellers. It's just that we do not know that, oh, we've been narrating stories. So Deepti, it's not about that you lack in storytelling. It's just that you did not know when to say what and how. That's it. You've been a storyteller. You gave us a presentation on LinkedIn. You think you are not a storyteller? You are. So it's just within us. We sometimes do not understand. As I mentioned, the activity, write it down, guys. Your life, your instances, what you want to narrate, how it affected your life, and the base, how you started your venture. Thank you, guys. It was lovely doing this, and I learned how to share the audio today.
Can you post the last slide once?
Jasleen, just to tell you, the two quotations that you shared, the one on the top is an epigraph to a very beautiful book. It's called A Book of Tiny Stories. So if you guys do ever land your hand on it, it's one beautiful collectible. So please buy it. And wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks. I hope if this brings a change, then okay, I'm doing a good job. Otherwise, no.
What were the four elements which you said just in the, I think, second slide? This one.
This one, the principles?
Yeah. Principles.
Emotions. You have to be true in your story. There has to be a common ground, and you have to articulate your story in a proper manner. Guys, we understand when anybody's just saying anything now, ऐसे क्या बोलते हैं, like the fake and all of that, तो आपको पता चल जाता है. Okay, and you then only you lose that interest. You cannot bring out your belief in that person, and your emotions are zero. You do not get emotionally invested in that person. I was just going through a case study. There was a person who bought some products from Amazon, right? And at Amazon, it was for 100 rupees or something. And he made up a website and he gave up a story to those particular artifacts. And he sold it for like what? Thrice rate of this. And he mentioned the only thing that worked for me was the story. He said, this is coming from, he was saying he was bluffing it up also, but that worked for him for that time. Why am I narrating this thing to you? That the story has a very big power. But we are entrepreneurs, as we are coming up with new things, we explore. For us, the story remains the same. It's just this that we need to know what is important and what is not. And as I mentioned, story sells, guys. It's not you. It's not your product. It's all second thing. First is your story. How, why, and when, and how. Yeah, as I said, it's very, very, very important. Any question that you have here? Anybody?
So I have a question. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So this was a good session. Thank you for taking out your time and doing this. So
my pleasure.
I understand the facets of storytelling, like you put it, but often, and as I'm not talking about in our personal lives, but as entrepreneurs, when you go out there to talk about what you're doing, your initiative and your venture. So I get the emotional part. So because it's coming from you, there's a passion that's driving your venture, right? Even the authenticity, I'm assuming it's there. Even how you're phrasing your story and how you sell it and how you enunciate your venture. But a lot of times, and personally, where I'm coming from is I feel in terms of common ground, because especially when you're talking about your venture, it's very difficult to find that common ground. And I'm not even reaching the pitching stage right now, but even if when you're talking amongst peers, if someone doesn't understand the world that you're coming from or what you're trying to do, like for example, I may not understand fintech. So any pointers from you on how to hold a person's interest, even if there's no common ground?
Even if there's no common ground, see, I'll always tell you, there has to be some interest. As I mentioned, you need to understand your audience. Which audience are you pitching to? If that audience does not want to listen, then it's actually no point. They cannot believe in that story of yours. So you need to understand whom are you sharing your story with. As I mentioned, it's very important to understand your customer, their lifestyle. Then only your, obviously, I mean, you would know now which is your target audience. As I gave you the example of Audi. So it's not about the common ground. It's about your telling your story to somebody who's not interested at all. Right? So therefore, you need to understand that who is listening to your story and to whom you want to narrate your story to. And if there is somebody who's really not interested and still you want to say, if you're true, no, if you have that passion in you, they will listen to you. I'll tell you one of the examples. Masayoshi-san, I think a lot of people would know. He's one of the very big philanthropists. And he was asked by some journalist once that, sir, how, we really love how you take decisions. Your decision making is so apt that in whichever company you invest, that company turns out to be a hit. How? There's never your career growth is just goes up like that. Your share market just goes up like that. He invested in Ola, in Paytm, and then he invested in Alibaba. So he mentioned that, I'll tell you a story. This is how he replied. I've listened to this interview. I'll tell you a story. Once it happened, there were a lot of venture holders, entrepreneurs who came down to me for investment. And everybody was ready with their spreadsheets, their profit margins, their stocks, and all the possible technical things that an entrepreneur or business owner should have. But there was one guy who was just having a single paper. Forget about spreadsheets and your presentations or pitch deck. He did not even have a laptop. Just a single page, right? And on that, he had written his dream, how he's planning to do, how he's planning to execute it, what all things he would be needing, how much time is he framing for that dream to come true. The only biggest thing that he had was his heart, his passion, his story. I'm telling you the story of Alibaba's owner, Jack Ma. So he was somebody, when he narrated this story to him, he said, I could feel that this guy can bring out a change. He then and then took out his checkbook, invested in that, and see where Alibaba was today. He said, it's the heart. I listen to so many stories, I listen to so many pitch decks and everything, but I know what is going to be that one thing. So you need to understand whom you want your story to be, told to. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And you have a brilliant knack for storytelling and holding one's attention. And I think it comes a lot from how vivacious a person you are also. It just comes across, it's very, you have a very bright personality. So.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to record this and show it off to my husband. See? People are in love. No. That's true. Thank you so much. Because I am saying whatever I have had experience, not when completely technical, because मेरे से तो बहुत और technicians and there's a lot of science and in emotions we can talk for hours in this. That what emotion comes out, what hormone you're excreting, how psychology works in this. I was always interested in talking to people, making those connections. It's just that I did not know. I was going through the wrong path. Somebody just picked me up and said, no, you have to use your tongue, but here. So yes, I actually asked my owner, this is not a story, this is true. That, sir, I don't even know the spelling of marketing. What are you doing? Yes, I did. Anything else, guys? Anything that you want to discuss or share your experience? Please feel free.
I just want to add to that, some of us, when it could be relevant to a couple of us who are, still in the ideation stage, still kind of experimenting with our brands and, what we're trying to do here as part of WSP. it's important to know your story. It's important to, have a connect and all of that, but it's important to remember that you can always tweak that story. Right.
Yeah.
So keep tweaking it till you have, and there's nothing called a perfect story. I've been in the business of storytelling for 14 years now, and I'm a metallurgist for stories. I break down emotions and I construct them all over again. And I think the one takeaway that's been there for me is that, there's no perfect story, but there's a perfect way of telling each story. So till the time you reach that perfect, when it keeps evolving. So, today you're a startup, you just in the ideation stage, and then you tell your story a different way. Tomorrow, you grow, your business grows, your story changes, and you're always, your vision keeps reforming. Mission, of course, almost always stays the same, but your vision keeps, you keep adding to it. Sometimes you realize, okay, maybe I was into too many spaces at once, so I'll cut this off. This is where I want to specialize in, or maybe too much competition here, so I want this to be my niche. And then this is from a very business development point of view. I mean, of course, emotional storytelling is a very different thing, but when it comes to storytelling for brands, we should just, think about tweaking our stories till it's the perfect story for that moment.
True. As I said, it depends upon your audience. So for example, as I said, Bangalore wants to hear something else and Mumbai wants to hear something else. So you have to keep on evolving. It just is that very, very well said, Ananya. The main thing is that you need to know the baseline, your taglines. Guys, also, I would also want to tell you this, that when you are making your stories for your brands, your story leading to your brand story, your ventures, how you started it, all the language, your supporting points like your logo, your colors of the brand that you're using, these are all creative graphic things and all, but it always reflects the persona behind the brand. So these are building blocks, these are always supporters. Somebody might want to have a logo which is a very suspense kind of thing, so this also has a story, that yes, it's a suspense, there's a thriller in this. Somebody wants to have a logo like Red Bull, for example. So you need to know what you want to display, how you want to articulate your story. These are all building blocks. But just remember, on all the platforms, it has to be same. It shouldn't be different, right? Your video should not speak some other language and your reels shouldn't speak some other language. It has to be kind of, somewhere has to be that one commonality in all of that. And just remain true. You can tweak your stories, definitely, because it depends upon your customers, how you want them to take it, how you want that interest to develop in them, right? So it's very important to understand that also. That is why listening is very important. If you're a good storyteller, you need to listen to your audience. At times it has happened with me also. Looking at the client, I know that, okay, this I have to tell them. There's no point telling them. That's how it happens. So yes, this happens when you're talking, when you start sharing your stories. Yeah. Anything else, guys? I hope it might. I mean, there must have been one or two takeaways after this presentation, because I wanted to make it very simple that why things are important, and to just give a push, guys, start thinking. This is one of the first steps, that start thinking, start writing down, start, after listening to me, it might affect this has happened. We can relate this thing to Jasleen. Yeah, that happened with us. At that one point, yes, I need to take care of this point in my mind. Technical, all these apps and all of this technical kind of brands, you don't think like that. Okay, we don't have a story, we don't have an emotional angle to the story. No. Everybody has a story. Your personal story, how you started your brand, then your client story also, the testimonials that we gather that information, gather the data. I'll tell you one of the examples again. I'll share that. One of the brands I was freelancing for. So this person, it was run by all women. It was a 1 minute sari thing. And she started from zero, that lady. And in 3-4 years, she's doing pretty good for herself. So when she started, she took up a lot of women tailors and everybody. The biggest support for her and for us also, when we had to make a story for them, it was the data that she collected, the testimonials that she collected from her clients. From there, I took out the stories. Okay, what I have to get. Sometimes people are still not able to understand ki kya kahani banani hai. So there we come up into the place that we need to dig in them and understand what happened in their lives, what had been their turning points, how their brands have evolved, some instances or some experiences with clients or vendors that changed, that, kind of changed their brand, changed their venture, changed their product or service. These are all points that you collect and you would not understand and you will not be able to know like this, but actually a story comes out like this. So yes, these are the major points of stories. And it's very important, guys, to be a storyteller for your brand. As Professor Suresh also said, it is really very important and one of the most important things today as upcoming and budding entrepreneurs that we are becoming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite true, Justine. And also, there's one more thing that I keep coming across. So I used to work as a game writer. Basically, I used to write stories for mobile games, and I have basically learned all of that through self-education. And I read up on a lot of things on storytelling. But I think the principles that you've mentioned pretty much remain the same no matter what your goal is, whether you want to tell a story, you want to make a film, you want to make a game, or you want to sell or a product or build a venture. So I think there is a particular format that pretty much everyone follows. It's so I don't quite remember it exactly, but there are a few essentials to any story. So it starts with once upon a time. So you introduce the hero or your protagonist. Then it goes to he went through so and so every day. So there was maybe some kind of a problem that particular hero or the world that he lived in faced on a day-to-day basis. And then this happened. So this is probably a catalytic kind of an event. It could be anything. Maybe if there is a problem, you introduce your product, maybe that probably solves that problem. It happened, and and then it led to okay, and then maybe everyone lived happily ever after, or he was able to win that battle, or it could be anything. So these are some very essential aspects to any story. And if you really look at anything, be it a story from a film, be it your favorite TV series, or any kind of brand storytelling, any your favorite brand storytelling that you may have come across, even these ads that we've seen, you kind of, if you really observe properly, you can really identify these aspects. So this format, you can read up on it as well. Maybe I wasn't quite articulate in really mentioning those aspects, but if you look it up on the internet, you'll be able to get that format. It's just about filling those blanks. It's just about filling those blanks.
There are, she's
story.
right. And there are a lot of formats if you want to see, but sometimes you just kind of go too much in technical things that you miss out on the emotional stories that you have somewhere back in your heart. That is why it's very important when you are completely clueless about storytelling and you are completely new to this whole thing, just start scribbling. And as Ali also mentioned, as I also said, that there is one hero. Hero in here means it's we are talking about us. We're talking about ourselves. That how we started, because we need it for our brands. We need to introduce us, and we need to introduce our product or service or the brand. So it is very important that you need to first scribble it down. That, as I said, what is important and what is not important. How you've been that main protagonist. How you have the events that has happened. So it just follows. Once you write it, and then you'll understand that how you want to narrate it completely for your brand also, because brand is given birth by you, nobody else. You are the mother of it. I would always say we are having our babies, our ventures, we are taking them as our dreams. So nobody else can narrate the story better than you. Yeah, that's my takeaway. So yes.
Just
Anything
to add
else?
to what Sayali just said, while you were saying what you were saying, I was reminded of some ad commercials by Fevicol, the adhesive brand. they came up with an extensive ad campaign in 2017-18. Okay, they have about 10 or 11 30-second, because that was the time when we were shifting from a 1-minute ad to a 45-second ad, and then to a 30-second ad, and then to a 20-second ad. Because you remember that time when there was no 4G and there was a constant buffering thing happening, and you could not skip ads, and you had to wait and sit through the whole of it. So they had this entertaining ad kind of a thing, and people actually, after watching those ads, people took to YouTube, and there were many articles written about it. People took to YouTube to actually watch those commercials, and they became the most watched commercials that year. So, while you were speaking about it, Saili, I could so see that play in my mind again. And that's also an excellent, way of adding humor to your stories. So like Jasleen said, and like you said, sometimes we don't, we hesitate from telling our stories because we think it's not interesting. We think, or maybe we are experts, the more you get into something, you always want to better it, right? That's how humans evolved, right? From early man to now Homo sapiens. And that's how, that's what I think these days would define survival of the fittest. So if you want to add humor, or the way you want to make your stories more interesting, sometimes we don't do it because we think, we can do better than this. Oh, what shit. Or I've done better for my clients. Why am I still sitting here? And it's not coming. Okay, my muse is on a holiday, and our muses remain on holidays perpetually when it comes to us. For our clients, we have deadlines that brings food to our table, and so we're articulation sort of auto manifests, I'd say. But yes, thanks for adding those points, and we can definitely, whoever is in the business of it, or who thinks that been wanting to tell your story for a very long time but don't know where to start by watching those Fevicol ads. They're brilliant.
Yes, Fevicol has done pretty well. Cadbury had been always very well. They have interacted to that emotion. Then Amul has been always good. I'm talking about the Indian brands.
Yes. Oh, brilliant. And they
Amul
have
has
been
done
doing
a
some
great job.
amazing work. Yeah. Those doodles.
Yeah, so this we are talking.
Oh,
this we are talking about commercials.
Yes.
Ads and videos, and this always remains our mind because in mind, because it's all features. You can see hero, heroines, and these things remain in your mind. But more than that, if it is even the words.
Yeah. I love the way they're doing obituaries
so
these days.
Powerful.
So although it's a sad thing,
yes,
but
it's
very,
very powerful.
Yeah.
So yes, the basic points, guys, for storytelling is just write it down, your stories, your changes, as I mentioned again, and you would not able to actually, you'll not get it. Oh, you've written down something pretty much for yourself and your brand and the origin, how your brand started, and then start thinking that what is important, how I wanted to narrate it, how I want to write it, how I want to articulate it, just by through any medium of sharing your story, and just be true. Even if you're tweaking things here and there, it happens. I know what I wanted to tell you guys. It's okay. I know what I didn't want to tell you guys. But what is important is whatever I said was true, and you could believe in me. So yes, that's the main point. Belief, passion, your heart in it, the emotions that you want your clients to invest in you. That's the biggest takeaway if your story is working or not. Because businesses, it's not just about funds. It's not just about how much money are we making, how much clientele are we coming out with. It's that how much true are we and how much passionate are we about the brand, about the venture, about our babies that we are coming out with. So yes, and we have to nurture them. So we have to keep making stories. How we keep sharing stories with our kids. It's just same. New product range, new story. We want to come up with this new storyline. That's how taglines. These are very important. These are all building blocks. These are all support system to you. So this is how the story frame starts. So just start thinking. Let's just start writing. That's the first step of storytelling.
Absolutely, Jasleen. Thank you very much for touching upon that point. Especially it sort of in a way gets overlooked, but then the truth is that is what the secret sauce really is, because some of the points that Ananya was mentioning about the Fevicol ads, and a lot of things that you also mentioned, Cadbury. It somewhat boils down to emotion, and humor also is emotion. And the points that Ananya raised connected really well with your particular point about emotional storytelling. So I think the bottom line is that the techniques, the principles can remain the same. They're common throughout universally, but your story, your emotion, your uniqueness, your brand, you as a brand, that is always going to remain unique, and you have to be able to layer that really well upon those techniques and principles, and that's how you're going to come up with a unique story, a unique brand about yourself, of yourself every time.
True, true. I also, once again, I'll share one of the examples. There was a very good brand in Jaipur, one of the luxurious home decor brands. They were doing pretty well with the HNIs and the royal. They were dealing with their clientele was all the royal class and the royal people in Rajasthan and UP and everywhere. So they came up and they said that everything is going pretty well, but people ask us, "What's your story? How? When?" We don't know how to say and what to say, how we started. So although they had it, सब लोग निकलते हैं ना. Everybody comes out with something. Everybody had their past and they've learned and they've come out evolved. But sometimes they just feel what to say. So it is very important, guys, that what you want your audience to hear. And remember, story, your brand story is one of the important parts of your communication strategy. It is extremely very, very, very important. You think this is very emotional part of my life. No, it's not emotional part or you being emotional telling a story. No, it's about which emotion you want your client to develop while listening to your story. That's important. If I will tell you this tragic thing happened in my life, you'll be sympathetic towards me, not empathetic. I want my client to feel how I'm feeling for this product or service. That's the difference. Yeah. So I'll just come out of this. Anything, guys, you want to ask, please go ahead. You want to see any of the slides again? You can just do this. Describe your dream, your venture, why, the reason why you want to come out with your business. How are you different? What is it that, makes you stand alone in this, and your mission and your vision, why you started it, the reason, what are you looking forward to, what do you want yourself or your brand to become? It's very important. Just write it down. Trust me, something beautiful will come out. And yes, keep listening to your clients, keep listening to them. They are the biggest teachers. All right. Thank you. I
think we should take a photo. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Sorry?
I'll do that exercise and I'll come back to you. Maybe I will need your help.
Thank you, Jasleen.
Thank you, Jasleen.
Thank you. My pleasure.
That was wonderful.
Thank you,
Jasleen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Giving us input.
I'll surely come back with my exercise. I'm like, what exercise you have given? I'll write it down, and because I always feel that with discussions you get to know more things, and you get it opens up more options for you.
Jasleen, can you put the exercise slide?
I will.
Thank you.
Remember in Lean Canvas, we've written down problem, we've written down solution. For Lean Canvas, always definitely things were different. Our perspective was very different, how we wanted to kind of pitch it. But just take it in a bigger picture. What were your problems? Write more. That's not Lean Canvas where you have to be restrictive about words. Just write it down, how you solved it. This is one of the big major pillars, the foundational pillar for your brand, for your venture, for your service or product whatsoever. You need to understand, what are you solving, why are you solving, how that happened, what was the change in your life that you came out, okay, I want to do this, right? So, and then connect it to you. There must have been something or the other in your life that actually forced you to become an entrepreneur, or kind of energized you to become an entrepreneur? Why should, let's leave my job. We are all coming from beautiful careers and something or the other we've been doing, but why did you leave it? Why? Because you wanted to make it your own story. And you want to listen from me? No, you are a storyteller yourself, guys. So yes, just look within ourselves, and we are beautiful storytellers. That's why we have paved ourselves on this journey of entrepreneurship. It just opens, stories opens your door in the market. You make a different place of yourself. Do this activity, guys. It really affects. I've also done this. I also keep writing. It's very important. Write it, note down, just notes in terms of when you want to create a story for yourself. It's very important. It helps.
Thank you, Jasleen. I really enjoyed this program and
my pleasure.
Got a lot of insights. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope it works.
Good luck to you too in your venture.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining us on this Sunday. And I hope it must have got some change or given you some insight. And whenever, anywhere you guys stuck, a call away or a message away. So yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Saili, for being there, my co-host. You're a wonderful co-host. I did not even look at the technical things at all.
No
I was
worries.
engrossed in it. Thank you.
No worries. And
but guys, any question? Otherwise, we'll end. Thank you.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, last questions, I'll just keep this open for another minute. After which I will end this and I'll make the recording available as soon as possible.
Two things happen, either things are really in your mind, you understood, or it gets cleared. So yeah, I'm taking it like that, but yeah. Thank you guys. It was a wonderful session. I loved it. Talking to everybody and listening to such amazing experiences.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jasleen. So yeah, let's end this. I'll make the recording available as soon as possible.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye. See you. Bye-bye.
Happy Sunday. Bye.
You should say.